Here with a Hwoarang video. Um, a Hwoarang tutorial, I should say. Um, Before I get started, um, I do want to point out, yes, I've done a video before. I tried to do like a mix between Katarina and Hwoarang, but it ended up being like super long and all over the place, and it was just crappy. So that video ended up being deleted. I'm gonna do a quick. Well, I can't really say quick. I'm gonna go as fast as I can with this Hwoarang tutorial. But honestly, um, even with all of his pokes, stances, and strings and stuff like that, I can't say how long it's gonna be or how quick I can make it. So I just want to point that out, just to kind of make sure you're aware this may be a long video. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make it quick. I'm gonna go over his key moves and pokes. Um, well, I'm gonna go over his stances. He has 4 stances and 2, I guess, makeshift something stances. He has a lot of pokes from any stance that you're in. And then I'm gonna go over his. So we got his stances, pokes, key moves, his counter launchers, his launchers. We'll go over the grabs you might want to try to use for future video like future usage rather than his normal grabs. Then we'll go over some like his rage arts, like how to use them effectively. And then once we've pretty much covered everything, I'll do a couple little makeshift combos just to kind of give you guys like a little feel of how effective Hwoarang can be. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. So hopefully we can save a little bit of time. Okay, so the first thing we're going to go over are his stances. He has 6 of them. And in order to really explain his poking game, you have to know how to get into his stances. So he has 4 stances, and yes, his normal stance, his left foot forward is his normal stance. I do consider this a stance just because to be an effective Hwoarang player, this isn't how you're going to stand the entire time. To use them effectively, this is just as much of a stance as anything. And obviously this is a default stance. If you go into another stance and duck, he goes right back to it. If he gets punched or he blocks a punch, he goes straight into it. If you like crouch dash, he goes into it. If you run, he goes right back into it. So this is his default stance. He also has his right foot forward, which is just 3+4. Nothing major there. And then he has his left flamingo, which his easiest way to get into is forward 3. And then to get into his right stance or right flamingo, it's going to be forward neutral 4, which is just you hit forward, stop touching forward, and press 4. And in case you don't know what the number system is, 1 is your left punch. Your 2 is going to be your right punch. Your 3 is your left kick. And your 4 is your right kick. I do have a big thing about referring to everything 1, 2, 3, 4. So try to kind of get that in your mind. If you're on the PlayStation 4, your 1 is X. And for the Xbox, or no, my bad. For PlayStation, it's going to be square. And then for Xbox, it's going to be X. That's your 1. For PlayStation, your 2 is your triangle. Or for Xbox, it's Y. Your 3 is going to be either A for Xbox or X for PlayStation. And your 4 is either going to be circle for PlayStation or B for Xbox. I don't really know the PC thing. I don't know how that one works, if you do it on a keyboard, if you use a controller or whatever. But that's the easiest way to point it out. So try to keep that in mind. Write it down, however you got to do it, just to kind of you know, stay with it, because I can sit here and say X, Y, A, B, but that would be really confusing, especially if you're on a PlayStation. So just remember 1, 2, 3, 4. So anyways, getting back to it, obvious, like I said, his left foot forward is just his normal stance. Right foot forward is just 3 plus 4. His left flamingo is forward 3. And his right flamingo is forward 4, or my bad, forward neutral 4. And then his other two stances, you're going to either do 1 plus 2. This is going to be your right foot forward, back turned. And to get into his last stance, it's a little bit more complex. You'd either hit 3 plus 4 and then 1 plus 2, or you would hit 1 plus 2 and then 3 plus 4. But this is going to be your left foot forward, back turned. So that's pretty much it. And as you guys might be able to tell, just to get out of it, you just hit down, back, you know, down, back. That's the easiest way to do it. It's really, really good for like kind of like getting away too. You know, so keep those in mind, because I might, most of his moves are pretty much from his left foot forward. So that's probably going to be the long part. Then we'll go over his right foot forward, his left flamingo stance, and his right flamingo stance. And then we'll get into like all the other stuff. And I'll do like a string or two here and there towards the end, just to kind of let you guys see how quick and effective Hwoarang can be. So let's just go ahead and get into it. His first move is going to be your 1-1. He does have an extension, which is 1-1-3-3. Be very, very careful using this, because between the 1 and the 3, it's not natural at all. However, the 3-3 are natural as long as you don't make contact with the 1-1s. The way I use this, especially against more advanced players, I'll do 1-1. And pretty much anybody who's played as Hwoarang has seen this, or even played against Hwoarang since Tekken 3 has seen this string. So almost any decent player or any player from past Tekkens has seen this string. So it's high chance it's going to get blocked or low parried. So the best thing to do would be to either do like your back 3 or your down forward 4, just because these are mids. So they're really, really good choices. Personally, I would do down forward 4, just because it's a lot more safe. And if it does hit them, it'll usually knock them back. So that's definitely something. So your next bit is going to be your 1-2 forward 3, and your 1-2 forward 4. For this one, you don't have to be really particular. You can hold forward through the whole thing, but to be effective, you might want to learn how to do the 1-2 forward part, the 1-2 forward 3, just because the next little poke is going to be your 2 forward 3 or your 2 forward 4. And honestly, I think those are better to choose as a poke rather than this. But if you're still getting new at a Hwoarang, it might be easier. But the reason you don't want to hit forward 2, forward 3 is because you'll end up getting this, and you'll end up doing something else, and you don't want that. So it's going to be 2 forward 3 or 2 forward 4. If they block the 2 forward 4, obviously it has really, really good pushback, and 2 forward 3 is pretty safe enough and has enough pushback to make it not as punishable as it probably could be. So your next poke, it's not really a poke, it's a good key move though, is it's, I don't really know how to explain it. Let me see. My bad. Quickly press the buttons inside of the barrack. So the best way to explain this is you're gonna hit 3, 4 pretty quickly. Not 3 plus 4. It's gonna be 3 and then 4, but you want to hit them like really, really quickly. And you'll get this move called the Flying Eagle. It's a really, really good move, fairly safe. It does 32 damage. I don't know how safe exactly it is. if you try to jab or something, you might trade. But for the most part, this hasn't seemed very punishable. I don't really know frame data very well, so if you're like looking for frame data, this might not be for you. But if you're a beginner, you really shouldn't be worried about frame data just yet. I've been playing Tekken for like 4 years, and I still don't care for frame data. I just play for fun. I'm just doing this because I was asked to. Oh, I was asked to help some people learn. I told them just to make it easier, I would put out a video on, and they can go into practice and just practice what I'm showing you guys. So hopefully this works. Your next poke is going to be your 4-3. This is going to be a big key move, especially in your poking game. It's really good. It's safe. It has some decent pushback, fair range, not great range, but fair. So that's definitely something. This is probably going to be one of those moves. If you don't like, there's a few moves that I'm going to say this about, but this is one of those moves I would definitely highly recommend putting into your Hwoarang gameplay. There's no harm in you trying to use it at all. Just whip it out every now and again and test your luck. Some good, I wouldn't really call these pokes, it's more of a string. But I see a lot of people using it, and I did want to point these out. So you have your 4-4-3, you have your 4-4-4-3, and you have your 4-4-4-4. The reason I wanted to point these out is because I see a lot of new Hwoarang players using this. And I'm not going to tell you not to use these because I like to use these every now and again. But I would strongly recommend using caution while using these. Just because especially the 4-4-4-4 string is all highs. So a lot of people don't actually know that they turn that into a high now. So these can all be ducked. So my highest recommendation is if you like this string, I would either go with 4-4-3 or 4-4-4-3. Just because it has a decent pushback and it force crouches on block. So it's really good. From here, it might be beneficial not to do anything because you might trade, but even so, like as you can see, they're pretty far back there, so it's not too bad. So I would use caution if you are going to use your 4-4-4-4. Just keep in mind it probably will be ducked now. Then you have your 4-2. This is really good. It's called the Rusty Knife. It's really good. It's if you sidestep towards the background, 4-4-2 becomes a lot more safe in a sense. Like if you go this way, you can see how much slower it is. But from here, it's a little faster. So it's always to the background. Even if you're on the other, even if you're on the other side, it's still towards the background. So keep that in mind. So your next move is going to be your 4-3 neutral 3. This is going to be one of your key moves. I wouldn't call this a poke, but this is definitely one of those moves. Again, just like 4-3. If I would strongly recommend trying to use this in your Hwoarang gameplay. If nothing else, it's a really good way to evade a little bit and get a really good kick in. Because as you can see, if you hit 4-3, it automatically takes you a little bit to the right. Or I guess it might be left. I don't know. It's to the left, towards the screen. Whatever. So it's really good. So like if somebody doesn't do a homing move and they do a punch, this has actually gotten me out of the way of a lot of people attacking. So it's really good. Again, another move that I would try to implement into your